it's evil, and I would get rid of it very quickly. It was very hard. Puberty 1.0 was awful. Hair started to grow, the voice started to drop. I'm going, no, this isn't right, but who could you tell? Keep in mind at that time, being out as gay or lesbian was considered a mental illness, and being a homosexual with transvestite tendencies, which was the official designation of being trans at the time, if you weren't beaten up by the police, there were 3 treatments. You would get either forced indoctrination, you would get aversion therapy, do this, you'll be rewarded, do that, and you would be punished. Or there's electroshock. Those are the treatments. Never faced any of them, but I just got the general whiff. You went deep stealth and you stayed there, because this was obviously wrong. You know, a lot of high school kids and early college kids ask me, why didn't I look it up on the internet? It didn't exist. Cell phones did not exist. A small computer was about 5 feet by about 3 feet and stood 4 feet tall. That was a compact computer. No place to go for information. Am I going to ask my mom and dad? I don't think so. Plus, if you look at the media at the time, the media's portrayal of being gay, obviously you were a crime lord of some sort, or an assassin. The James Bond movie, Diamonds Are Forever. Who were the assassins? A stereotypical, over-the-top gay couple. Lesbian, obviously you're trying to go and get this sweet young housewife to change sides. I forget the title of the movie, but there were a couple that were out like that. And if you were trans, you were a psychopath. You were a mass murderer. Dressed to kill.
You die in like the first episode.
Say again?
You die in the first episode.
Or the movies. Look at the movies, right? Dressed to Kill, Silence of the Lambs, and others like that. You're a mass murderer. I don't want to be that. But still, there was something inside of me that continued on. Continued on. And I married, I had kids. People often ask me, if you were going through this, why did you get married? Simple, I was in love. In hindsight, I think I was more in love with the idea of being in love and being married than what I was with her. You know, being a geek, a nerd, no geek. You know, there really weren't many romantic encounters for yours truly. And to have someone who was interested in me, I sort of glommed on. I think it was later on when I fell in love with her, and I did love her. I won't argue that. Well, at this point, we had moved to Syracuse. Excuse me. And the neighborhood Halloween party was the thing. Absolute the thing. Now, you hear that you can get away with anything on Halloween? Don't you believe it. What happened was this, is that you know, at this point I had this Dr. Jekyll, Ms. Hyde thing going on in my brain, and the conversation went something like this, and Dr. Jekyll worked real hard to put Ms. Hyde into this box, welded shut, made of neutronium, dark matter change, the whole 9 yards. She was not getting out, and she was in there going, excellent, everything is going according to plan. Simpson, eh? Smithers released a house. So the conversation went like this. with Ms. Hyde going, you know, Halloween's coming, what are you going to do for Halloween? Oh no, I'm not talking to you. Every time I talk to you, I get myself into trouble. I'm just asking, what are you doing for Halloween? No, I'm not schizophrenic. He goes, well, I don't know. I could go, you know, put on my lab coat and go as a mad scientist or Doc Brown from Back to the Future. But, you know, it's really not a costume. I was a science teacher at the time, career 3. No, I'm not mad. I'm just terribly, terribly hurt. I could go as, anyone ever watch Home Improvement?
A couple times.
Okay. Character Al Borland? That's what I used to look like. Shortish hair, full beard, flannel shirts, jeans, tool belt, tin. That's not a safe thing to do. That's what I used to look like. Julie can vouch for that. And I could go as Al Borland, but again, that's not really a costume. And I said, well, I think, you know, I'm just not going to do anything. Well, have you thought about taking a walk on the wild side? Are you nuts? It ain't happening. Well, tell you what, before you go, you know, before you blow a gasket, talk to your spouse's girlfriends. See what they say. And so I said, fine, I'll do that. And I did. Which, you know, every single one of them thought it was a fun idea. They were going to try and get their husbands to do it too. Don't! So anyhow, there are 2 ways of how to do it. You can go as a parody, or you can go as passable. Even then it was go big or go home. So I went to my favorite hairstyles and I decided to go passable. I've been going to Sue now for literally 25 years. And I said, Sue, can you do this? And she looked at me very seriously and said, are you really sure you want to do this? I said, yeah. Okay, we can do this. So I went. eBay is now a great thing. Bought an olive green skirt, about mid-calf, 1.5 inch heels. I actually picked up, or set up, let's see, a post office box so I could have things sent there. Because we weren't going there. My spouse was rather conservative. Nowadays, I'd probably call her a TERF. Trans-inclusionary radical feminist, for those of you who don't know. A cable knit sweater. I had borrowed jewelry that actually matched a skirt. I had a black purse, which I just recently retired. My favorite purse. And I stepped, it was 3 hours in the chair. Hair, makeup, nails, the whole 9 yards. Went in, you know, so I stepped out of the bathroom, not the closet, the bathroom, and saw myself in the mirror. And I looked, and there was this woman staring back at me. I raised my hand, she raised hers. I put my hand to my face, she put hers to her face. And there was this moment of absolute panic where everything that my mother and father had taught about, this is wrong, this is bad, it's evil, you can't do it, don't do it, walk away, this is not right. And I waited one moment longer. And in that process of waiting, Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde realized they were really one and the same. People ask me, who was the first person I came out to? It was me. It was a hard learning. Halloween 2003. I was 45, went to the Halloween party. You know, this weird sort of feeling of really excited knowing that there's more going on here in my brain than just being in femme. And scared crapless for going to this Halloween party where most of the people are a little on the conservative side, so I showed up. As I was walking in, one of the other women, and already at that point I was thinking other women without even thinking about it. Ding ding, sign. Saw me, went, ah! And I was immediately ushered into the kitchen. dozen women circling like vultures around me. And I'm saying, vultures, for real. They're looking for the slightest flaw. Is that your real hair? Yes, it's my real hair. Check my nails. They were done. They were perfect. Yes, they were fake. Press on because I knew I'd have to get rid of them. Fragrance, the looks. I had a couple of women tell me afterwards they were really upset with me. I looked better in a skirt than what they did. My spouse took one look at me, and she knew what I was doing, not to the extent, but she knew. And she walked into the other room. I said, oh shit. I went to follow her and try and talk over what's going on. She walked out of the room and left. That was Halloween 2003. She has not looked my direction since. That I'm transsexual. One day the data came. As it was, my kids and I had different spring breaks. Different districts. We live in Syracuse. I was more in the Rochester one, so they had theirs before Easter. I had my break after Easter. And the year before, we had gone down to the Outer Banks. Had a great time. The last real good family vacation we ever had. And we were planning to go back. I said, go ahead, go. What I'll do is when you come back, go up to Vermont, see a friend of mine who had moved up there. She and her kids. No, not a problem. Well, while the cat's away, the mice will boogie. And so I get home from school, and I became me. So during that week, I was part-time me. And I very, very, very quickly became very comfortable with being me. In fact, I planned to take that particular Friday off so I can go and get my hair done. I went back to Sue's. I drove from Syracuse all the way to Sue's shop in East Henrietta Road in Rochester. Nervous as hell, but still went. I was just another woman in the shop, which was a really cool feeling. And Sue usually sets extra time aside so we could talk. And we talked about what was going on. And she saw this comfort level simply rising like a rocket. "35% have been physically assaulted. 12% have been raped. 6% have been expelled." And I guarantee you, with the SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, the Hobby Lobby decision, that's being used now to expel transgender students from colleges. It goes against our religious beliefs for you to be here. It's happening. That's what it's just birth control. No, it's not. The ramifications are appalling. What if your particular religious belief believes that people of color are a lower form of life? And there are some religions who believe that. Imagine the gutting of the 1964 Civil Rights Act as a result. It's not just me, it's all of us that are at risk because of this dumbass decision. Doors are meant to be opened, not hidden behind. Go forth and conquer. And I thank you. Now, I'm going to take your questions. There are a couple little caveats I'm going to ask, and I think they're reasonable ones. And you can ask me whatever it is you want. Number one, I will ask you, please do not ask what my birth name was, because that was a lie. This is who I am. My legal name is Shauna Marie O'Toole. My legal gender in my driver's license is F for female. It's who I am. So, if you can Google or you can use a little bit of brain power, you can figure it on out. But, always for that little bit of respect. Asking what my ex was going through, that's her story. She has the right to tell her story in her way, and I would ask for that bit of respect for her. And the last one is, now let's, for the most part, leave what's going on between my kids, between us, out of this discussion here. What I will tell you will be this. My son saw my transition. My daughter really didn't. She went off to college. I was still male. She came back, and I was female. It was hard for her. My son, though, had a chance to see this all happen. He had a chance to ask questions. My son has been, and continues to be, my strongest advocate and greatest ally. He's also going to be my gentleman of honor at our wedding in a couple of weeks. He's definitely my mini-me, simply without the skirt. Okay? If you want to know what he looks like, look at me with a bit of scruff on the face, and he got it. Seriously. So, what would you like to ask? And don't worry about, I don't want to embarrass. Trust me. I've been asked everything. How do you go to the bathroom? Standing up or sitting down? Literally. Wagner School of Pharmacy. I was asked that. Yeah. Truly.
I remember when you did the transition, I was in your science class that year.
Yes.
And they did that big meeting with our class. What was going through your head at that time?
Good question. I haven't been asked that one before. What was going through my head at that point was, this is it. There's no turning back now. Throttle's all ahead flank. And I knew the next morning that I was in the last hours of living a lie. And it was scary as hell and exciting as all get out. Because I knew from that moment on, I was me. And there was no going back. Other questions? Oh, come on. Yes, nice and loud.
First of all, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I'm going to ask you, let's throw out one thing that every single person that sat here tonight that heard your story can do to advocate for the trans community. If you can think of one thing.
As opposed to contacting your state government?
And maybe that is the one thing.
No, actually, I'm gonna ask for something else. When you hear someone making a homophobic remark, you hear someone making a transphobic remark, simply say, no, that's not right. Don't go there, because saying that something is gay does not make it bad. If anything, makes it fabulous. But gay does not mean bad. It's not acceptable. You hear someone making a comment about a tranny. The word tranny to the transsexual community is like the word nigger to the people of color. It is that offensive. Tell them no, transsexual or transgender. Force the issue. Be polite about it. She-male. Chicks with dicks. Dick chick. Those are terms used by the porn industry, or RuPaul. RuPaul is a gay man who found his sister's closet and plays dress up going, oh, look at me, I'm a girl, I'm a girl. He is as transphobic as Barney Frank in HRC. If you see bigotry, stand up to it. And it's not just about being transphobic or homophobic. You hear someone talking about towel heads. No, that's not acceptable. You hear someone talking about people of color, people of different ancestries. Say, no, that's not acceptable. We are human, each and every one of us. We have the right to be treated with the respect that comes with being human. And the only way that happens is by we standing on up. Desmond Tutu said, if you are silent in the face of injustice, you have sided with the oppressors. Stand up in the face of injustice. If it becomes rampant, Go to your administration, your boss, whoever. Say, this is what's happening. This makes me uncomfortable. This is wrong. Good question. Something else, please. Yes.
Just the definition thing. Do you use transgender and transsexual interchangeably, or those really have different definitions?
Good question. Transgender is actually a very large overarching umbrella. And my personal opinion is that I think a lot of people are much more comfortable with the term transgender than what they are with transsexual. Someone who's transgender could be someone like me who is transsexual, someone who identifies as a sex or as a gender opposite of their birth sex. Okay. This is me 24/7. There are no boy days or anything else like that. You can have someone who's transgender who identifies but may not be living 24/7. You have people who are cross-dressers. Cross-dresser is someone who will dress in clothing of the opposite sex because there's a need, but still identify as a cisgendered person. A male cross-dresser is simply a man who has a need and desire to wear female clothing. You have people who are two-spirited, two-spirits, which is a Native American term, who see on both sides of the gender aisle. You have people who are gender queer. They're not male, they're not female, they're somewhere in between. Gender fluid. You go back and forth between the two. You know, it really is a spectrum. It's not just male, female. There's a whole range that goes in between. I am a transsexual female. I guess I would say I'm a pansexual transgender female. Pansexual, if you're bisexual,